Jason Garrett, NBC Football Night in America analyst and Notre Dame football analyst. He will be on the call. Noah Eagle and Zora Stevenson. Saturday, the Fighting Irish, and that's 2:30 Eastern on NBC and Peacock. But that'll be 7:30 local time here in Dublin. Forgot all about that. So, Paulie, a little drum roll for Jason Garrett. Look at that. Okay. What is that you're playing?
It's called a barum. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly. It's an Irish traditional drum, and I've gotten 3 minutes of instruction on it.
No, you're really good. You're
solid.
You're a natural.
Thank you.
Hi, Coach. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Kidding me? We're in Dublin.
Okay. You got to get your team up. I had some problems with Fritzy.
Yeah, I saw that.
He moped a little bit yesterday, and I got on him a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I'm old school. I'm Lombardi. I mean, I'm going to get after you a little bit here. But if you were going to pick up the spirits, get guys motivated, how did you do that?
You know, there are a lot of different ways you can do that, Dan, as you know. Marcus Freeman talks about one play, one life. You know, if you think about that, let's go to the next play.
Yeah.
I thought you did a good job kind of getting them going that way.
Okay.
I mean, it was a little bit kind of a harassing technique that you used.
All right.
Thank you, Coach. Glad you
I'd
recognized
like
that.
to be more positive, right?
Is that also a U2 song? One play, one life.
Did you yell at players?
Speaking of that, we got lost yesterday, and one of the issues in Dublin, which I love, is it's hard to find the name of the streets. And talking about U2 songs,
They're up on the side of the building.
yeah, streets have no names.
Yeah.
Right?
Streets have no names.
Yeah. No, don't sing it, Will.
Was that another Marcus Freeman?
So I'm empathetic. I really am.
So you got lost.
Yeah, we kind of. It took us a little bit to get to where we were going yesterday.
All right. Did you yell at players when you coached?
At times, you have to raise your voice, but in general, you try not to do that.
Okay, but what is going to bring out the anger in your voice if I'm a player?
I think repeated mistakes, stuff the guy should know.
Like false start.
Well, more like we went over this yesterday, we went over it again last night, and you're doing it again. You know, it doesn't seem like that's been an issue here.
With Fritzy?
Right?
Oh,
I don't
no,
think
this has
so.
been going on for 20 years.
Oh, it has?
Yeah,
Yes.
20 years.
So
Oh, when I
that
ramble
would
on
bring out
endlessly.
the ire.
Yeah.
Coach, did you ever have, because I once used this tactic, did you ever have a player who kept making mistakes and you'd reprimand them and they'd be like, you're right, I can't get it. Would they ever just own it? And just say, I can't get it, and I don't think I will get it.
Yeah. And then you just kind of do this, right?
Okay.
Because I once got out of getting fired from a job by, I just accepted the criticism and said, you're right, I'm doing a horrible job. And it disarmed my my boss to the point where it was like a Jedi mind trick. And he said, you're on thin ice. And I'm like, I should be. I'm not good at this job.
Yeah.
But
Anyway.
I always wondered the different coaching philosophies. If you wanted to get my attention, if you had a normal voice and you were like speaking direct to me, then you got my attention. But if you yelled, I just tune you out. I had no interest in what you were. It was just noise. But if you were like, hey, and I was called Golden Boy when I was in college. So
For obvious reasons.
Well, it wasn't a good thing, by the way. I thought it was a good thing when the coach goes, by golly, Golden Boy. And I go, oh, I'm doing something great.
Robbie Benson reference.
One-on-one, Robbie Benson. Yeah. And it was a negative, but he would yell at me, and I just tuned him out. Did you tune out? You got yelled at when you played.
Yeah, I think when you're a player, you have to understand that it's not really how they're saying, it's what they're saying. So if you can sort through kind of the noise of it and figure out, why is this guy getting so mad at me? What's the point? What's the nugget in here? I think that was always the approach. But when you're a coach, I don't think it's a great thing to rely on screaming at guys.
But Jimmy Johnson talks about if this guy falls asleep in a meeting, he'll cut him. But if Troy falls asleep in a meeting, he would nudge him to wake him up.
I was in that meeting when Jimmy went over that, and it's a revelation for a player when a head coach stands in front of the room and he says, okay, guys, I'm going to try to treat everybody fairly, but we're not going to treat everybody the same. and he goes through this. The player was a guy named John Roper, who was a linebacker.
Linebacker,
He was
yeah.
a linebacker for us. He was a heck of a player, played at Texas A&M, but came to us and was kind of on the border, and he falls asleep, and Jimmy gets rid of him. And then he kind of revealed to the rest of it, if Troy or Michael
Emmett.
or Emmett, I'd go over and nudge them, you know? And so that's a wake-up call for everybody in the building to say, okay, wait a second, I can't do what they do. I got to listen, and if you're the third-string quarterback like I was, you better be there early and stay late.
I was looking at your career, 11 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Is that right?
That's a long time ago.
Okay.
Yeah, that's about right.
Give me your NFL highlight. Like that you think back and you go, you know what?
Well, the highlight was to be part of 3 Super Bowl teams.
But I'm talking about when you were quarterback.
Yeah,
When you were playing.
I got a chance to play on Thanksgiving Day
Okay.
against the Packers.
Okay.
Yeah, it was 1994, and Troy had gotten hurt. Rodney Pete, USC guy, had gotten hurt.
Yeah.
And so I got a chance to play, and we were really good. It was the Packers,
Yeah.
Favre and Reggie White and those guys. They were really good. And the game wasn't really good for me in the beginning, but then eventually we got it going and we beat them, and it was a big day.
What was it like? Because Reggie White might be the greatest defensive lineman. I mean, he's certainly in the conversation, greatest defensive player of all time. But you get to the line of scrimmage, do you want to make sure you know where Reggie White is?
Oh, absolutely. And we played against Reggie when he was in Philadelphia. Then he goes to Green Bay. It's like we can't get away from this guy. But the interesting story is, you remember Larry Allen?
Yeah.
Larry Allen, one of the greatest linemen of all time. It was his rookie year. And we had a guy named Eric Williams who played right tackle. Eric was hurt. And so Larry Allen, as a rookie, had to play right tackle against Reggie White. And Larry Allen is 14-time Pro Bowler. I mean, he's a remarkable player, in the conversation to be the best lineman of all time. Reggie White is throwing Larry Allen around like you've never seen. Rushes up the field. He does this thing called the hump move. He throws him over. It's like, that's Larry Allen right there, you know? And it was bad in the beginning of the game. Reggie White's knocking passes down. He's sacking me. And he very famously doesn't swear. He's a minister.
Yeah.
So he's laying on top of you, and he's like, oh, you're doing great. You really are. I'd be doing a hell of a lot better if you weren't here. And I was like, oh, sorry, I didn't mean to say hell, you know?
Better defensive player or more impactful, LT or Reggie White?
Ooh, great question. I think LT was probably more destructive. I mean, he changed the game. You had to change blocking. But Reggie White, if he's not there, is right behind him.
Yeah.
Incredible player.
We're talking to Jason Garrett. He'll be on the call coming up Saturday night. Notre Dame christens their season. How good is Notre Dame?
I think they have a chance to be really good. I did the games last year, so I got a chance to get to know a lot of these guys. I think Marcus Freeman will be better in year 2, just like anybody would be. He's building his program, putting his stamp on it. They got a lot of good young players. They got some veteran players on defense, but the big factor here will be the emergence and the arrival of Sam Hartman. A lot of experience as a quarterback at Wake Forest, a lot of success.
He's 24.
He is. It's really
24.
It's amazing. And
Like-
he acts like it. He's really mature. He's a leader.
And Stetson Bennett was, 25?
Yeah.
Chris Wenke was 28
Yeah.
when he played? And at that level, I mean, what's the difference between an 18, 19-year-old as opposed to somebody who's 23, 24?
Well, just picture it. I mean, this guy's played, started so many games. He's thrown 110 touchdown passes in college football. And so he comes into this place. It's a new environment. The transition will be interesting for him, but he has so much experience under his belt. And we had a production meeting with him over the summer, and he's just mature. I mean, it reminds you of an NFL player.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's going to have a real positive, pervasive impact on this team.
I'm curious, when you were coaching, your philosophy with rookie quarterbacks, playing them in the preseason, that like Sam Howell with the Commanders, he's not a rookie, but it's his first year starting, got to play, 40 plays. Anthony Richardson, is he going to play? Should he play? Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud. What was your philosophy, and would it be changing now with today's quarterback?
Well, it was very noticeable to me that the Kansas City Chiefs, who everybody thinks they're just a razzle-dazzle outfit and all that kind of stuff, their head coach is an old-school guy. If you go to a Kansas City Chiefs practice, the shirts are tucked into practice. They run more than anybody. And, oh, by the way, it's the first preseason game, and number 15 is under center. He's playing. So I'm for guys playing. I think you need to play. There's only 3 preseason games. I don't care who you are. there's an acclimation period in football. So certainly if you're a young player, you got to play. It's different to play in a game than it is in practice. And I know regular season will be different than the preseason. I get that. But playing in a preseason game with your uniform on against another opponent, seeing a variety of things that you haven't seen in practice, it's valuable. And, we had Dak Prescott in 2016, and Tony Romo was going to be our quarterback, but he got hurt. Kellen Moore was our backup. He got hurt. Now Dak is our starter. And thankfully, we played him a lot in the preseason, and he ended up winning 13 games for us. So if you're a young player, you need to play. And I get the risk of injury and all of that, but it's pro football. That comes with it.
I wonder about Romo because he was a really good quarterback. If he doesn't get hurt or he adds his Super Bowl, wins his Super Bowl, being a Cowboy quarterback, I wonder if he's a Hall of Famer, a borderline Hall of Famer or a Hall of Famer in your opinion.
Oh, I don't think there's any doubt that his numbers would suggest that. But,
Okay.
As we all know, you get judged by the playoffs and the Super Bowl. And, there are a lot of great players who don't feel like they've reached that next echelon because they weren't part of championship teams.
But do you think that should be like Eli Manning? I don't think is a Hall of Fame quarterback, but I think he's going to get into the Hall of Fame. And he won 2 Super Bowls, but his numbers during the regular season, he would suggest he was a good quarterback.
Yeah. That's the measuring stick. Whether you agree with it or not, if Walter Payton had retired before the 85 season,
He's still a Hall of Famer.
one of the greatest.
Yeah, but we don't hold running backs or any other position to
Yeah.
that. It's coaches and quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Nobody says, well, how many, Calvin Johnson didn't win any playoff games. Is he a Hall of Famer?
Yeah, that's a great point.
Nobody questions it. Now, I know the quarterback has more of a say there, but it feels like that's the bottom line, and I don't know. Phillip Rivers, Hall of Famer?
In my opinion, he is,
Okay.
absolutely.
Eli Manning?
I think he will be a Hall of Famer, yeah.
Do you think he should be a Hall of Famer?
It's a tricky thing. Deion Sanders was a teammate of mine for 5 years, and as we all know, Deion is this amazing guy, incredible athlete, maybe the best I've ever been around, and he has this wisdom about life. And we were at the Hall of Fame a couple of weeks ago to do that game, and I kept thinking about Deion's line that they're letting a lot of guys in here. I need my own room.
But I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
If you go in first ballot, I have no problem with you having the top floor,
Yeah.
like the gold room. Just call it the gold
Yeah,
room.
and I think that's the means. If you're a first ballot Hall of Famer,
Yeah.
you're kind of different than everybody else.
I'm okay with that. Yes, Will, you got a question?
You're a big advocate of Ken Anderson,
Yes, I am.
right?
Yeah.
Getting into the Hall of Fame.
Yes, I am.
Perfect example of someone who never won,
Went to a Super Bowl,
Right.
lost to Montana.
but has amazing
But
numbers.
if he beat Montana,
He's in.
is Matt Ryan a Hall of Famer?
I think he is, eventually, yeah. The tricky part about the whole thing is how many balls do you think Lynn Swann caught in his career?
400.
Yeah, less than 500.
Yeah.
Okay, it's an era where they're not throwing the ball very much, but if you think about the impact that Lynn Swann had on football, had on championship teams, it's as impactful as anybody. So the numbers change, different than baseball.
Yeah.
Baseball, you hit 300, you're going to be a Hall of Famer. Football, the game has changed. So it's hard to say from this generation to that generation, we're going to compare numbers and all of that. So that's a tricky element to this thing too. So I do think winning, being part of the winning team in your generation should carry a little extra weight.
Okay, you being a former quarterback and being a former coach, you can have Belichick or Brady to start your franchise.
Bill Belichick's the best coach ever. The trophy could be named after him.
Okay.
Very easily.
But is there a but coming?
The impact of that quarterback on that franchise and on football is significant. You think about what he did, 20 years there, all the success they had. And, oh, by the way, I'm going to go to Tampa. They were 7-9 last year, and now I'm going to go win the Super Bowl with them. It's pretty rare. At the end of the day, you need quarterbacks to win. So I'm going to say just by a smidge.
Okay. All right. Brady.
I'll take the quarterback.
Okay. Fair enough.
But having said that, Belichick's the best that ever walked.
Did he draft Brady?
He did.
Yeah.
Okay, so he saw what was there.
Well,
Maybe?
well,
Okay.
Took him in the 6th.
yeah. It's not like he goes, we better get him in the 3rd or 2nd.
Right.
It was like, oh, by the way, yeah, that skinny kid from the combine, we'll take him.
We'll use our 6th-round pick.
Yeah.
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 I mean, I guess I can say that's part of the genius, but I think that'd be stretching a little bit. I think he lucked into Tom Brady. Fair?
Fair.
Okay. Thank
Totally
you.
fair.
Thank you.
Totally
Take
fair.
199.
Yeah, 199. Have fun on Saturday night.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yep, I look forward to it. We'll be there if they let us in. We still got a few more days here in Dublin, so I don't know. We might.
Hey, Coach, do you have a line on getting any Ottawa Rough Rider swag for me?
Yeah,
Okay.
I do. I know people up there.
Great.
Lansdowne Park.
But didn't they change?
been?
Did they change their name? There's Rough Riders, and then didn't somebody change their name to the Black Knights or
Yeah,
Black?
they did.
Something
You
red.
there are 8 teams up there, and there are 2 Rough Riders.
Rough Riders,
But
yeah.
there's a distinction.
Okay.
One of them is one word, Rough Riders. The
Yeah.
other one is Rough Riders.
Got it.
Yeah. So
Now it makes sense.
That
Now
always-
now I see it.
I cleared
Now
it
I
up
see
for you.
Yep.
Coach, thanks for joining us, and you can hear Coach coming up on Saturday night. It's Notre Dame and Navy. Yeah.
Can I just have one more second here?
Okay.
Can you tell me the training you did for the snowball scene in Elf?
You know, thank you for asking, Jason.
Magical.
Yeah.
I worked with Tom House, the quarterback coach, former pitcher for the Atlanta Braves. And yeah, we broke it down, a lot of film sessions,
Yeah.
a lot of biometrics,
No question.
a lot of work with the bands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Internal, external.
Internal,
rotation.
external.
I like
Yep,
that.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great question.
Yeah, great
Great
question.
question.
Thank you.
Have fun, and thanks for joining us as always. We'll come back with our play of the day right after this on the Dan Patrick Show.